Today we're chatting from a slightly different perspective because I wanted to show you my new old Zildjian cymbal set. Now, I'm typically a vinyl guy, but I had to make an exception for these cymbals in particular. Those eagle-eyed among you may have already noticed that these are K-Custom special dries, and those of you that really know what's up might recognize these as the older generation, and we'll talk about the difference here in a sec. Now, I made a video a ways back about waiting years to buy this ride from a friend of mine who's had this ride for many, many years. I always loved the sound of it. And the reason I couldn't just get one myself is because these are from an older generation of Zildjian K-Custom special dry cymbals. Now, check my dates here, but the original special dry line existed from, I think, like the 90s to 2010 or so. They only had a few cymbals, and I particularly thought the ride was a totally unique sound, and I have a whole video gushing about how much I love the sound of this ride that you can check out if you want. Now, Zildjian stopped making the special dry line, I believe, for a few years or for some intermediate amount of time, and then they brought the line back with a bunch of new cymbals with crashes, cool new sizes like 15-inch hi-hats. They brought back the 21-inch ride and added in a 23-inch ride, which is awesome, except that they sound completely different. And these are the cymbals that if you walked into a drum shop today, you would buy. Some people love them. I do not. I think they sound completely different than the original first generation, and I'm going to show you a comparison between the two in just a second. In any case, the short story of what happened is I bought this ride from my friend, and then I had an opportunity locally to trade someone a snare that I didn't need for this 19-inch crash ride. I recognized on Craigslist that this was the first gen. I was like, ooh, that would be nice to have as a pairing for this ride. I got the 19-inch crash ride, and I was like, well, if I've got the crash ride and I've got the ride, I should probably have the hats too. And so that led me to Reverb to buy the only pair of the first generation 14-inch hi-hats that I could find. Now, I believe these were the only three cymbals and the only three sizes they made in this line in the first generation, but correct me if I'm wrong. If they made 15-inch hats back then with the first gen, I want to know because I want to seek them out. But to my knowledge, they only made the 14-inch hats, the 19-inch crash ride, and then the 21-inch ride. Now, I made this bold claim that these are really cool sounding cymbals and the new generation sounds nothing like them. And luckily, I'm right next to West Coast Drum Shop, so I just grabbed the exact same sizes, the exact same cymbals, but the new generation, brand new cymbals, and here's what they sound like back to back. So you tell me which you liked better. I very much prefer the sounds of these. I'm not saying that these are the perfect cymbals for every scenario, but I've always felt like these have such a cool, like, smoky, dark, kind of rich, complex character, and the new ones really just sound trashy, and not like the cool kind of trashy, just kind of trashy sounding. Now, Zildjian, if you're watching this, you can call it something different, but please bring back these. Like, you probably still remember how to make them, right? So bring these cymbals back in some form. Either call them a different line or just start making the new ones sound like this again. So anyways, that's me throwing that out into the ether. So let's check these out individually. First of all, the hi-hats to me are great for jazz, but they're like the perfect kind of R&B funk hip hop hats. This is the sort of thing that I feel like Questlove could get a lot of mileage out of. Crash ride, I will be honest, does not, to my ear, sound that great as a crash, but actually as a left side ride, this thing works really well. It has a very usable bell. It's got a cool sound when you ride on it. It is not the most versatile cymbal, but it is kind of a cool alternative ride sound. And then this ride, I have a whole video about this thing. I love it. I think it just sounds amazing. It's got this like smoky, sort of dark, rich undertone. And to my ear, this is the absolute gem of the bunch. So there you go. I just thought it was fun to kind of have the set together and I wanted to share it with you. And I thought this would also be just a good sort of comparison to have out there between the new and the older generation. So again, Zildjian, if you're listening, please release these again. Let me know in the comments whether you like the first gen or the second gen better. And actually, if you are someone that has this 21-inch ride, I might have been a little overzealous in buying these cymbals in quick succession. As cool as it is to have the entire set, I don't really need these cymbals. I'm definitely going to keep this. But if you have the 21-inch ride and you're watching this video and you're thinking, man, it would be cool to have the whole set if you're like a funk or an R&B hip hop player, let me know. And I would be open to selling these to help you complete your set of these first gen cymbals. So again, thank you for watching. See you next time.